The grand hall of stars was brighter than 1,000 suns. Golden lights moved slowly across crystal walls. Huge alien banners floated in the air. Leaders from the most powerful realms in the galaxy sat on high silver thrones. Their armor shined. Their crowns glowed with strange energy. Today was important. Today, the young human race stood before the galaxy. In the center of the hall stood one man, a human soldier. He wore a simple black uniform. No heavy armor, no shining metals, no weapons. At his side, his hands were calm behind his back. His face showed no fear. Around him were creatures twice his size. Some had horns. Some had glowing skin. Some had eyes that burned like fire. Many of them were smiling, not with respect, but with mockery. On the highest throne sat Princess Zelthara of the Zyran Empire. She was tall and proud. Silver hair flowed over her shining armor. A blue crystal crown rested on her head. Her people were one of the strongest forces in the galaxy. She looked down at the human soldier like he was nothing. "So this," she said, her voice echoing across the hall, "is the great human representative?" Soft laughter spread through the crowd. The human did not move. One alien general leaned toward another. "They sent only one? No guards? No warriors?" "They must be desperate," another replied. Princess Zelthara slowly stood up. Her long cape moved behind her like liquid light. "We heard stories about humans," she continued. "Brave, dangerous, clever. But..." She tilted her head slightly. "But I see only a fragile creature made of flesh." More laughter. The human soldier finally raised his eyes. He did not look angry. He did not look afraid. He only looked calm. That calmness made one old warlord in the crowd shift in his seat. He knew that face, but he said nothing. Princess Zelthara stepped down from her throne. Each step echoed loudly in the silent hall. She stopped only a few feet away from the human. "You stand before empires that ruled the stars, before your species made fire," she said. "Tell me, human, do you truly believe your kind belongs here?" The hall grew quiet. Everyone waited. The human soldier spoke softly. "We did not come to prove we belong," he said. "We came because we are already here." His voice was simple, calm, steady. That answer caused whispers across the room. Princess Zelthara gave a cold smile. "Confidence without power is foolishness." She turned to the crowd. "Perhaps humans are good at surviving on small worlds," she said loudly. "But this is not a small world. This is the galaxy." A loud alien laughed from the side. "Maybe we should send him back with a gift basket." More laughter, but not everyone was laughing. In the third row, the old warlord's hands were shaking slightly. He remembered a battlefield covered in fire. He remembered a single human walking through smoke. He remembered an entire fleet disappearing. In one night, he swallowed hard. Princess Zelthara looked back at the human. "Tell me, soldier," she said. "What makes humans special? Your weak bodies? Your short lives? Your small numbers?" For a few seconds, the human said nothing. His silence felt heavy. Strange, almost dangerous. Then he spoke. "Humans are patient." That was all. Some aliens looked confused. Princess Zelthara laughed softly. "Patience? That is your great power?" The human's eyes did not leave hers. "Yes," he said quietly. The air in the hall suddenly felt colder. The old warlord could not stay silent anymore. He stood up quickly. "Princess," he said, his deep voice shaking slightly, "you should be careful." All heads turned toward him. Princess Zelthara looked surprised. "Careful? Of what?" The warlord pointed at the human soldier. "You do not know who he is." The hall became silent. Princess Zelthara narrowed her glowing eyes. "He is a human soldier." The warlord swallowed. "He's the one they call the Realm Breaker." A wave of whispers rushed through the hall. "Realm Breaker? That is Only a myth. No human could destroy a realm. Princess Zelthara's face showed no fear. Only annoyance. Stories meant to frighten children, she said. Ideal in reality. She stepped even closer to the human until they were only inches apart. If you truly broke mighty realms, she said softly, then show me. The human looked at her calmly. I'm not here to fight, he said. Of course not, she replied. Sharply, because you cannot win. At that moment, a loud alarm suddenly echoed through the grand hall. Red lights flashed across the crystal walls. Every alien leader jumped to their feet. A guard rushed inside. Princess! He shouted. An unknown fleet has appeared at the edge of the system. The hall exploded into noise. Whose fleet? How many ships? Is it an attack? Princess Zelthara turned sharply toward her commanders. Identify them now. The guard looked nervous. They carry the symbol of the Dravac Dominion. The old warlord's face turned pale. The Dravac Dominion. The same empire that had fallen years ago. The same empire that had lost an entire realm overnight. Slowly, very slowly. The human soldier looked toward the great window behind the throne. Far. In the distance, dark ships filled the sky like a storm. Princess Zelthara turned back toward him. For the first time, there was a small crack in her confidence. You knew, she said quietly. The human met her eyes. We are patient, he repeated. Alarms continued to scream. Outside, the enemy fleet moved closer. Inside the hall, the most powerful leaders of the galaxy stood in fear. And in the center of it all stood one calm human soldier. He had not come to prove humanity was strong. He had come as a warning. And the galaxy was finally beginning to understand. The alarms were still screaming. Red lights flashed across the grand hall. Outside the giant crystal window, dark warships blocked the stars. The symbol on their hull burned like fire, the mark of the Dravac Dominion. Panic spread across the alien leaders. They were destroyed years ago. That empire collapsed. How are they here? Princess Zelthara stood frozen for only a second. Then her royal pride returned. Prepare the defense fleet. She ordered sharply. Activate planetary shields. Commanders rushed to obey. But in the center of the chaos, the human soldier did not move. He simply watched the ships, like he had been expecting them. The old warlord stepped closer to him. His voice was low. They came because of you, didn't they? The human did not answer immediately. They came because some wounds never heal, he said finally. Princess Zelthara turned toward him, her eyes sharp. You speak as if you know them. I do, the human replied. The hall became quieter. Even with alarms screaming, even with fear rising, many leaders were now looking only at him. Princess Zelthara crossed her arms. Explain, she demanded. The human looked at the fleet again. 7 years ago, he began calmly, the Dravac Dominion controlled 43 star systems. They had the largest army in this region. No one could defeat them in direct battle. Several leaders nodded. That was true. The Dravac were brutal, powerful, endless in number. But then, the human continued. They attacked a small human colony. A low murmur moved through the crowd. Princess Zelthara frowned. One colony could not threaten an empire. It didn't, the human said. His eyes grew distant for a moment. But they made a mistake. The old warlord closed his eyes briefly. He remembered. The human continued speaking in a steady tone. They believed humans were weak. Easy to scare, easy to control. A small pause. So they burned the colony. The hall was silent now. Even the alarms felt distant. Princess Zelthara studied him carefully. And what did humans do? The human's voice did not change, we learned. That single word felt heavy. They thought fear would break. US, he said. But fear teaches humans very quickly. A commander interrupted nervously. Princess, The Dravac fleet is forming attack positions. Princess Zelthara raised a hand to silence him. She was focused on the human. You expect us to believe, she said slowly, that one colony led to the fall of an empire? The human looked at her. No, he said. Not one colony. He paused. One survivor. The room felt colder. The old warlord stepped back slightly. Princess Zelthara's eyes narrowed. And that survivor was you? The human did not answer directly. The Dravac were strong, he said. But they were predictable. They trusted power. They trusted numbers. They did not understand. Patience. He began walking slowly across the hall as he spoke. No one stopped him. They celebrated too early. They thought the war was over. His voice remained calm. So I studied them. The leaders listened in complete silence. I learned their trade routes, their alliances, their rivalries, their pride. Princess Zelthara felt something. She did not like uncertainty. You are only one soldier, she said. Yes, he agreed. That is why they never saw me coming. A holographic screen suddenly activated in the center of the hall, showing live footage of the Dravac fleet. Outside, huge ships, heavy weapons, battle-ready. They rebuilt, the human said quietly. For years they prepared for revenge. One alien senator whispered, revenge against him? The old warlord answered softly, against humanity. Princes. Zelthara stepped closer again. If you truly broke them, she said, why are they still alive? The human looked directly into her glowing eyes. Because I allowed it. Shock spread across the hall. You allowed it? She repeated. Yes. Why? His answer was simple. Because broken enemies are louder than dead ones. No one spoke. They scream, he continued. They show their anger. They reveal their position. At that exact moment, a second alarm rang out. Princess. A commander shouted. The Dravac fleet is broadcasting a message. Play it, she ordered. The image of a massive alien warlord appeared on the screen. His armor was scarred. One side of his face was mechanical. His burning eyes locked onto the camera. Human, the Dravac warlord growled, ignoring everyone else. We have searched the stars for you. A wave of fear moved through the hall. Princess Zelthara slowly turned toward the human. The Dravac warlord continued. You destroyed our realm. You turned our generals against each other. You poisoned our alliances. You made our empire collapse without firing a single shot. Gasps filled the chamber. The warlord's voice became filled with rage. Today, we finish what we started. The transmission ended. Silence. Total silence. All eyes slowly moved back to the human soldier. Princess. Zelthara's pride was still there, but now it was mixed with something new. Respect. And fear. You did not break them with weapons, she said quietly. No, he replied. I broke them with time. Outside, the Dravac fleet powered their weapons. Inside the hall, the most powerful empires in the galaxy finally understood something important. The human they had mocked was not a warrior of strength. He was a weapon of patience, and the storm outside had not come for the princess. It had come for him. The galaxy did not fall in one night. It fell in silence. Years ago, far from the Grand Hall, far from royal thrones and golden crowns, a single human ship drifted alone in deep space. It looked damaged. Weak. Easy to ignore. That was the plan. Inside that small ship sat one man, the same human soldier, who now stood calmly in the alien hall. Back then, the Dravac Dominion ruled everything in this region. Their war fleets blocked trade routes. Their armies crushed planets. Their name alone created fear. No one challenged them, not directly, but humans did not think like other species. When the Dravac burned the human colony, they expected warships to respond. They expected anger. They expected revenge. Instead, they received silence. Months passed. then years. The Dravac believed humanity was broken. They were wrong. The human soldier had not come with weapons. He came with questions. He studied their language. He studied their politics. He studied their pride. He learned that the Dravac did not trust outsiders, but they trusted power. So he gave them power. Using false signals and fake identities, he slowly fed information to smaller Dravac commanders. He whispered lies carefully shaped like truth. There is betrayal in your ranks. Your rival plans to replace you. The High Warlord hides secret deals. At first, nothing happened. The Dominion was too strong, but humans were patient. The soldier waited, and waited. He watched small arguments grow into distrust. Small distrust grow into secret meetings. Secret meetings grow into hidden alliances. He never attacked. He never showed himself. He simply pushed the right pieces at the right time, one by one. Powerful Dravac generals turned against each other. Trade routes were sabotaged, not by humans, but by Dravac rivals. Military supplies disappeared. Fleets were moved to the wrong locations. Confusion spread like poison, and still, no human ships attacked. The galaxy thought it was internal conflict. Only one old alien warlord began to suspect the truth. He had seen human strategy before. He knew their greatest weapon was not strength. It was understanding. Then came the night. Everything collapsed. The Dravac High Council called an emergency summit. Accusations filled the chamber. Weapons were drawn between their own leaders. Trust was gone. Fear ruled. And in the shadows of their communication network, one silent human signal moved between systems, guiding the chaos. A final message was sent from an unknown source to every Dravac commander at the same time. You were never united. Panic exploded. Civil war began. Fleets attacked each other. Alliances shattered. Within weeks, the mighty Dravac Dominion, ruler of 43 systems, broke into pieces. Not destroyed by bombs. Not conquered by invasion. Broken from inside. The human ship quietly left the region. No victory speech. No celebration. Only silence. And a new name whispered across the stars. The Realm Breaker. Back in the present, inside the Grand Hall, the alien leaders were no longer laughing. The story had spread quickly after the Dravac warlord's message. Many now understood. Princess Selthara stood still, her eyes fixed on the human soldier. You expect us to believe, she said carefully, that one human caused the fall of an empire? The old warlord answered before the soldier could speak. I watched it happen, he said quietly. We thought the Dravac were cursed. We thought their gods abandoned them. His eyes shifted to the human, but it was not gods. The hall was silent again. Outside, the rebuilt Dravac fleet charged their weapons. Blue light gathered along their massive cannons. They had returned stronger. Angrier. Princess Zelthara stepped closer to the human. If you are so powerful, she said, why stand here alone? The soldier finally turned toward her fully. I am not powerful, he said calmly. I am patient. Another explosion of light flashed outside as warning shots hit the planetary shield. The alien commanders began shouting orders. Defense fleets launched from hidden docks. Chaos filled the hall once more. But the human soldier remained calm. Princess Elthara studied him carefully. You planned this, she said slowly. Yes. You knew they would follow you. Yes. Then why come here? For the first time, something changed in his expression. Not anger. Not pride. But purpose. Because the Dravac only fear one thing now, he said. And what is that? She asked. He looked around at the gathered leaders of the galaxy. Unity. The word felt heavy in the air. They believe you will stand aside, he continued. They believe each empire here will protect only itself. Outside, the Dravac flagship moved forward, weapons fully powered. They rebuilt their strength. Princess Zelthara's voice lowered. And you want us to fight your war? The human shook his head slightly. No. He looked at the approaching fleet. It is already everyone's war. The old warlord stepped forward. He's right, he said. If the Dravac win today, they will not stop. Princess Zelthara clenched. Her fists. Her pride had guided her earlier, but now she saw something deeper. The human had not come to beg. He had come to prepare. Outside, cracks of light spread across the protective barrier. The galaxy's strongest leaders looked uncertain. Afraid. All except one. The human soldier stood steady as the ground trembled. Princess. Yes, she inhaled slowly. Then tell me, Realm Breaker. Her voice was no longer mocking. It was serious. How do we win this one? Knowing smile. First, he said calmly, we make them believe they are winning. The second attack did not hit the shield. It passed through it. A thin beam of dark energy sliced across the sky and struck one of the outer defense stations. The explosion lit up space like a dying star. Inside the grand hall, silence replaced panic. They are targeting our power relays. The human soldier closed his eyes for a brief second. Dust fell from the crystal ceiling. The alien leaders began arguing loudly. Launch all fleets. No, defend. The core. Call reinforcements from the outer systems. Fear was growing. And fear made mistakes. The human stepped forward into the center of the hall. Do not send your full fleet, he said calmly. No one listened at first. Princess Zelthara raised her hand. Silence. The hall quieted. She looked at him carefully. Why? Because they want you angry, he replied. Outside, the Dravac ships began moving in slow formation. Not full assault. Controlled advance. They are measuring your reaction, the human continued. The human looked at him. Because I taught them that tactic. The words hit harder than the explosions outside. Princess Zelthara felt it clearly now. This was no normal soldier. This was a strategist who had shaped an empire's war doctrine. New transmission. Request flashed across the hall. The Dravac warlord appeared again on the central screen. His mechanical eye glowed red. Human, he said coldly. You hide behind alien crowns now? The human stepped closer to the screen. I am not hiding. The warlord sneered. You destroyed my empire with lies and shadows. Face me in open battle. The human's voice stayed calm. You rebuilt your fleets, he said. But you rebuilt your ego faster. A low growl came from the Dravac leader. Princess Zelthara studied both of them carefully. This was personal, but something felt strange. The human was too calm. Too controlled. Why now? She whispered quietly to him. Why attack here? The human did not take his eyes off the screen. Because they think you will not trust me. The princess understood immediately. Division. If the alien leaders blamed the human, they would weaken. And the Dravac would win. The warlord on the screen smiled darkly. Princess, he said, now speaking directly to her, give us the human. This war ends today. Murmurs spread across the hall. Some leaders looked tempted. One human for peace. A simple exchange. Princess Zelthara looked around her chamber. Fear. Doubt. Uncertainty. Exactly what the Dravac wanted. She turned slowly to the human soldier. You knew they would demand this. Yes, and you still came. Yes, why? For the first time, his answer was not strategic. It was human. Because if I ran, he said quietly, they would hunt humanity forever. The room fell silent. Outside, another defense station exploded. Time was running out. The Dravac warlord's voice echoed again. Choose, princess. One human. Or your planet. The alien leaders waited for her decision. Princess Zelthara stepped forward. Her crown glowed brighter. You believe we are divided, she said toward the screen. You believe we are weak. The warlord watched silently. She placed her hand on the hilt of her energy blade. You are wrong. The hall doors behind her opened. War commanders entered. Fleet admirals took position. Defense systems powered up across the city. Princess Zelthara's voice became strong and clear. "We do not surrender, guests." The human soldier looked at her briefly. The transmission ended. Outside, the full Dravac fleet shifted. Formation. Weapons locked. Power levels rising rapidly. Princess Zelthara turned to the human one last time. "You said we make them believe they are winning." "Yes," she crossed her arms. "They already believe that." The human's eyes moved toward the giant star map projection in the center of the chamber. Small green lights began blinking far beyond the system's edge. Hidden, silent, waiting. "No," he said calmly. "They believe they came alone." Princess Zelthara followed his gaze. Her eyes widened slightly. "You brought reinforcements?" At that exact moment, the star map zoomed out. Dozens of stealth signatures, human signatures. The Dravac had focused only forward. They never checked behind. Princess Zelthara slowly smiled. The human had not come alone. He had come prepared. Outside, the Dravac fleet fired its first full assault toward the planet. Inside the hall, the human soldier spoke one final calm command into a small device at his wrist. Phase 2. Far behind the Dravac ships, space itself seemed to open. And the hunters became the hunted. The Dravac fleet fired with full power. Beams of red energy tore through space and struck the planetary shield again and again. The sky above the capital world turned into a storm of fire. Inside the grand hall, every alien leader watched the live battle feed. Princess Zelthara stood. Tall, but her hands were tight at her sides. "Shield at 70%, a commander reported. "Enemy fighters launching," another shouted. The human soldier did not look at the shield. He looked at the Dravac flagship. Specifically, at its engines. "Now they feel strong," he said quietly. Princess Zelthara glanced at him. "They are strong." "For the next 3 minutes," he replied. Outside, the Dravac fleet pushed forward aggressively. Their formation was tight, confident. Their cannons glowed brighter with every volley. The Dravac warlord appeared again on the central screen, laughing. "You see, human," he said, "no shadows. No tricks. Only power." The human finally looked up at him. "Yes," he said softly. "Only power. That was the problem." On the star map projection, small green signals remained invisible. To the Dravac scanners, human stealth ships were positioned far behind the enemy fleet, silent as drifting dust. They had not attacked. They had not moved. They were waiting. Princess Zelthara leaned closer to the human. "What are you watching?" "Their pride," he answered. Another explosion rocked the outer defense grid. "Shield at 60%. Alien leaders began whispering nervously again. "Maybe we should counterattack fully. We cannot hold this pace." Princess Zelthara looked uncertain for a brief moment. The human spoke calmly. "If you strike now, they will retreat in order." "And that is bad?" she asked. "Yes." He pointed at the map. "Their fleet is too tight, too disciplined." Almost as if hearing him, the Dravac fleet suddenly split into 3 assault wings. They pushed deeper toward the shield generators. Aggressive, hungry, the human gave a small nod. "They think the shield will fall soon," he said. "Prepare boarding ships," he roared to his fleet. "We end this today." Princess Zelthara's eyes widened. "Boarding? They want ground control. They want humiliation," the human corrected. The Dravac did not just want revenge. They wanted to stand inside this very hall to prove dominance. "Shield at 50%, the commander yelled. The chamber shook. Again, Princess Zelthara turned sharply to the human. "You said we make them believe they are winning," she said. "They already believe it." The human's eyes remained cold and focused. "Not yet," he said. He tapped his wrist device lightly. Far behind the Dravac fleet, human stealth ships powered up silently. Engines activated without light. Weapons charged without sound. On the Dravac flagship, warning lights suddenly blinked. Unknown energy readings detected, one of their officers shouted. The warlord turned angrily. From where? Before. The scanners could fully adjust. Space behind the Dravac fleet lit up. Blue human warships emerged from stealth mode. Not dozens, hundreds. They had been there the entire time. The Dravac fleet was now trapped between the planet's defenses and the hidden human force. Inside the Grand Hall, alien leaders gasped. Princess Selthara stared at the map in disbelief. You surrounded them, she whispered. The human shook. His head slightly. No. He watched as Dravac ships turned in confusion, breaking their tight formation. I allowed them to surround themselves. The Dravac warlord's face appeared again on the screen, but this time there was no laughter. How? He demanded. Our scanners were focused forward, the human finished calmly. They targeted engines first, then communication relays, then command ships, precise, controlled. Dravac ships began drifting powerless through space. Panic spread across their channels. They cut our retreat. We are boxed in. The warlord growled in rage. Break through, forward assault. But his fleet was no longer unified. Fear was spreading. Just like years ago, Princess Selthara slowly looked at the human. You are doing it again, she realized. Yes. Breaking them from inside. The human's voice stayed even. Empires do not fall when ships explode. He watched the Dravac formation collapse. They fall when confidence does. Outside, the once proud Dravac fleet was now disorganized, turning against each other in desperate escape attempts. Some ships even collided in panic. The same pattern, the same fear. No longer calm. They were afraid of the human mind guiding this battle. Princess Selthara felt something new rise inside her. I showed them their weakness. On the battlefield, the first Dravac command cruiser exploded. A bright flash of fire-filled space. Silence followed on their side. The warlord's transmission cut suddenly. Inside the hall, alien leaders who once mocked humanity were now staring at the human soldier with wide eyes. The hunter had entered the system believing he was powerful. Princess Selthara stepped closer to the human. Is it over? She asked. The human watched the last Dravac ships attempt to flee. Not yet, he said calmly. Pride makes enemies return. They are about to make one last mistake. The Dravac flagship began to glow, not red, not blue, but black. A strange dark energy gathered at its core, bending the light around it. Smaller ships pulled away in fear. Inside the Grand Hall, alarms changed tone. Unknown energy surge detected. That output is beyond standard weapon class. Princess Selthara looked at the main screen. Even her experienced commanders looked confused. What are they doing? She asked. The human soldier's eyes became sharper. They cannot win, he said. Calmly. So they want to erase the board. The princess turned to him. Explain. That is not a normal cannon, he said. It is a gravity collapse device. The hall fell silent. One scientist whispered that technology was banned. It destroys everything in range. Outside, the damaged Dravac ships moved away from their own flagship. The warlord's face appeared again, but now there was madness in his eyes. If we fall, he growled, we fall together. Princess Selthara felt anger rise inside her. He is insane. No, the human corrected softly. He is desperate. The black sphere around the flagship grew larger. Space itself seemed to bend. Human stealth ships began repositioning, but the gravity waves pushed them back. Time to impact? The princess demanded. 4 minutes, a commander replied. The alien leaders began speaking at once. Evacuate the city. Move the shield to maximum. We cannot stop that level of energy. The human raised his voice slightly, not loud, but firm. Stop. The word cut through the chaos. Princess Zelthara looked at him. You have a plan, she said. Double quotes, yes. He stepped toward the central tactical console. Do not attack the flagship, he ordered calmly. Several commanders stared at him in shock. Not attack? One repeated. If you hit it now, the human said, the gravity core will explode. Princess Zelthara realized he was right. So what do we do? She asked. The human studied the map carefully. Which means he zoomed in on the Dravac support ships. Their defense grid is weak. Princess Zelthara's eyes widened slightly. You do not stop the weapon, she said slowly. You remove the hand holding it. The human gave a small nod. He tapped his wrist device again. Across space, human ships adjusted targets, not at the glowing flagship, but at the energy relay cruisers surrounding it. Precise. Blue beams fired. One relay ship exploded, then another. The black sphere flickered. Inside the Dravac flagship, warning alarms screamed. Energy feed unstable, the warlord roared in anger. The gravity sphere shrank slightly. Princess Zelthara watched in amazement. You are cutting the power supply. Yes, the human said. The remaining relay ships tried to flee, but human ships moved faster. Surgical strikes. The black sphere around the flagship began collapsing inward violently. Core overload detected, shouted a Dravac officer on the intercepted transmission. The warlord's face appeared one final time. His rage was now mixed with fear. You, he shouted at the human. You twist everything. The human looked at him calmly. You rely too much on power, he replied, and not enough on control. The final relay ship exploded. The black sphere shattered like broken glass. The gravity weapon failed. Energy reversed into the Dravac flagship itself. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the flagship erupted in a massive burst of light. Not planet-destroying, not system-ending. When the light faded, only drifting debris remained. The remaining Dravac ships powered down. Some surrendered, some tried to escape. None attacked. Inside the grand hall, no one spoke. Princess Zelthara slowly turned toward the human soldier. You could have destroyed them completely, she said. Yes, but you didn't. The human's expression remained steady. A destroyed enemy becomes a legend, he said. A defeated enemy becomes a lesson. The alien leaders exchanged looks. They understood. Just control. Princess Zelthara stepped closer. No, he corrected gently. I predicted their pride. She studied him carefully. Anger, she said. The human looked out at the quiet battlefield. Anger is loud, he said. Strategy is quiet. For the first time since this began, the sky above the capital world cleared. Stars became visible again. The danger had passed. Princess Zelthara lowered her weapon completely. The galaxy mocked humanity, she said quietly. They will not mock again. The human did not smile. He only watched as Dravac ships were escorted away. This was never about respect, he said. He looked. Balance. Far beyond the battlefield, hidden human ships remained in position. Silent guardians in the dark. The war was over. But the lesson had only begun. The stars were quiet again, where fire and explosions had filled the sky. Now there was only drifting metal and silent ships under guard. Their warlord had disappeared into the explosion of his own weapon. Inside the grand hall, no one was laughing anymore. The same chamber that once echoed with mockery now stood in complete silence. Princess walked toward the center of the hall, toward the human soldier. Every leader watched. The human stood the same way he had at the hands behind his back. No pride, no victory pose. Just quiet control. Princess Zelthara stopped in front of him. When you entered this hall, she said clearly, I called your kind fragile. The words hung heavy in the air. The alien leaders shifted uncomfortably. I questioned whether humanity belonged among us. The human did not interrupt. He simply listened. Princess Zelthara took a slow breath. I was wrong. The words echoed louder than any alarm. A royal admission. The old warlord in the crowd lowered his head slightly in respect. Princess Zelthara continued. You did not raise your voice. You did not threaten us. You did not beg for protection. Her eyes met his. You stood calm. While an empire came for your head, the human finally spoke. They were not coming only for me. They were coming to test us. She turned to the gathered leaders. And today, we were the ones being judged. The room understood what she meant. If they had surrendered the human, the Dravac would have learned something dangerous, that the galaxy could be divided. Instead, they had stood together. And survived. Princess Zelthara faced the human again. You broke a realm years ago, she said quietly. And today you prevented another war. The human shook his head slightly. I did not prevent war, he said. I redirected it. She raised an eyebrow. The Dravac will not rebuild Isli now. Their pride is shattered. Their fleets are weakened. Other aggressive empires will think twice before moving. He paused. Peace does not come from kindness alone. The alien leaders listened carefully. It comes from understanding consequences. The old warlord stepped forward. For years, he said, we believed humans were reckless, emotional, short-lived. Humans are something else. A younger alien senator asked softly, what are they? The old warlord answered without hesitation. They are patient storms. The phrase spread in whispers across the chamber. Patient storms. Princess Zelthara studied the human one final time. There is something I still do not understand, she admitted. You allowed me to insult you. Yes, you allowed this hall to laugh at you. Yes, why? The human's eyes were steady. A lion does not answer when insects make noise, he said calmly. Several leaders lowered their heads in quiet shame. Princess Zelthara did not feel anger at the answer, only clarity. You knew respect would come after proof, she said. Double quotes, yes. He looked around the hall. Words are light. Actions are heavy. Silence followed. Then, slowly, Princess Zelthara removed the crystal insignia from her chest, a symbol of Zyran authority. She held it forward. In the name of the Zyran Empire, she declared, we recognize humanity as a full equal among the great realms. Gasps filled the chamber. This was more than apology. It was alliance. Other leaders began stepping forward as well. Trade ministers, fleet admirals, ambassadors. One by one, they signaled agreement. The galaxy had shifted, not because of force, not because of fear, but because one human refused to react emotionally. Princess Zelthara lowered her voice. What happens now, Realmbreaker? The human looked toward the massive window, where stars shined peacefully once more. Now, he said softly, we build. Build what? He turned back toward her, and no empire feels the need to test it. For the first time since he arrived, a faint smile touched his face. Not arrogance, not pride. Just quiet certainty. The old warlord spoke again. The Dravac will tell stories of this day. Yes, the human replied, but they will not laugh. Outside, human ships slowly moved into formation beside alien fleets, not above them, not below them. Beside them. Equal. Inside the grand hall of stars, something invisible had changed. Respect. Trust. Understanding. Princess Zelthara stepped aside, giving the human a clear path toward the exit. You came as a warning, she said. Yes. And you leave as something else. He paused at the doorway. What is that? She gave a small, respectful nod. A reminder. The human soldier walked out of the grand hall quietly. No cheering followed him. No dramatic music, only thoughtful silence. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. Not about explosions, not about destruction, but about a single moment, The moment an alien princess laughed at a human and learned why she never would again. The day the laughter ended and the stars began to watch humanity differently.